Guess we'll start with water polo. I never really fell in love with water polo because it was like, it was fun, but it was really stressful for me because compared to like a regular racing sport, it was always a lot more complicated, and it kind of just stressed me out. I never really got completely used to it, and I was never that good at it, to be honest. But it was a lot of fun because it mixed things up, and it allowed me to use my swimming experience to kind of do better than somebody who was just good at water polo sometimes. I kind of made swimming useful in a new way. But it always stressed me out in ways that swimming and cycling never really did, because there were always so many things to worry about, and like there's the team dynamic and all that. It was always much harder for me. Swimming, I've been swimming for a lot longer, so practice always felt really normal. So did meets. And I'm a lot better at swimming than water polo. So, and I always felt like swimming was more laid back just because it was Dr. Burke versus Mr. Scanling. They have very different styles. They're both great coaches, though. Cycling's really the only sport I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. After college, I know I'm not going to be swimming. I'm not even going to do water polo in college. But cycling, I'm probably going to be doing as an old man, just riding a retro steel bike for fun, even after I'm not racing, just because it's fun to go out and ride. And racing, though, I can race till I'm 40, 50, until I'm slow. And even just at Deerfield, it's a much smaller team. It's much more laid back. I had a lot more fun with it than swimming or water polo, even though we didn't have as much success as a team. And racing, just like bike racing, is one of my favorite things to do, like including everything. Cycling, I started like 2 years before Deerfield, before I came here as a freshman. I wasn't racing yet, I was just riding with my friends and friends' parents. But freshman year here, I applied late to get an athletic exemption because I didn't know I could do that, and it got rejected just because it was late. So I did community service and then rode after I did community service. So and then sophomore year I got the exemption, partly because Mr. Calhoun was here now, and then I would like report miles to him because I was the only one doing it. We weren't racing or anything, and he was also my physics teacher, so we had kind of a close relationship. And we were sort of planning the whole year to try to have a team when I was a junior. So we went for that, and we were surprised there was actually a fair amount of interest. So compared to racing over the summer, the high school league's a lot slower and less competitive, I guess, but there's a lot more people, which is nice. Racing juniors over the summer, sometimes there's only like 5 guys at a race, and the skill level is super variant. There's guys, even though they take the guys who are on pro development teams and they keep them separate, there's still like, there's always one guy who it's his first race and he's on like a really bad bike, and then there's the guy who's like doing his 4th year and like he's about to sign with a pro team. So it's really crazy over the summer, and there isn't a whole lot of strategy. It's just like one strong guy goes out by himself and just wins easily. But with high school, you get to know everybody, and the pack's a lot bigger, so there's a lot more tactics, and I think it's a lot more fun. And we had a lot more success, and you get to like train with your team all the time. Over the summer, usually you don't really do that because you're all on your own schedules and whatever. But
what do you think of this year's finish?
The goal was to either win the individual overall with me or win the men's A division overall, and I think we got second in both of them. So it's a little bit disappointing. We probably would have won both if I hadn't crashed at the time trial, which is frustrating, but it's completely my fault. At least it wasn't like somebody took me out in a crash, something like that. At least it was my own fault and I learned something. Now I have this weird thing when I'm cornering hard, I'm like really careful, because that hurt. And it like broke some of my stuff, so, and it scared Reese really bad, because he was right behind me, so he actually, because you know we're drafting through the corner, his wheel's like this far off mine, so his bike somehow landed on top of me, and he actually like landed on his feet somehow, apparently, and conveniently we landed like right in front of where the parents were standing, so they helped us get up and get going. Took my stuff that was broken, like my camera, because I have a helmet camera, so I was filming the race, or actually that one I had forgotten to turn it on, but it was still on my head, and I landed on it, so now there's no sound, and I had to take it apart and fix it, because the record button broke. But finishing that race was really tough, because we were going so slow, and it was like my hip was hurting. I still have a huge scab, and got all this road rash, but I'm glad we finished. It's actually ironic, because the year before, Mike Bell was my partner, and he crashed. He actually crashed twice, but the second time was pretty bad. We're not sure, but we think he was unconscious for a bit, because he went through some barriers and he was laying on the ground motionless for a while. But he got up, even though his leg was like covered in blood, and we still finished. And he actually did something weird to his shifter, so it was stuck in his highest gear for the whole thing, which is brutal, because coming out of the corners you can't get back up to speed very fast. But he probably still went a lot faster than I did. My brakes rubbing. So.